feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Charlotte. We're delighted that you're here. My name is Marty Bacher, and I'm feeling blessed that I get to invite you to a higher place in consciousness where we realize and recognize the truth of who we are, divine beings, having human experience. So we want to welcome you this morning. We want to welcome those joining us on Access 21, those who will join us on YouTube, and all the other wonderful ways that we can connect in the world in which we live in today. So we are a spiritual community that promotes a way of living based upon universal principles and practices. We believe that spiritual community enhances our experience of life. You see, you can find these principles anywhere, but being in community together adds a dimension. And so that's why I thrive on being in spiritual community with you. If you are joining us for the first time today, I know there are a few of you, we just want to welcome you. We want you to relax, enjoy yourself. We're delighted that you're here, and we hope that something that happens today uplifts your spirit and your heart and your mind and supports you on your journey. If you didn't receive one, there are welcome packets on the table as you come in the door. We certainly would love to have one of those. If you are in need of spiritual support, we do have chaplains who are available to be with you in prayer following the service. We also have a ministry of prayer which is located in the lobby, so you can fill out a prayer request, and we'll work on that for a couple weeks. And then if that weren't enough, but wait, there's more, then it's added to the Silent Unity list, and they pray on it for 30 days. So, 45 days, you got to get healed, right?
You would join in with me. We want to, each of us, make ourselves available, be open and receptive. Be open and receptive, as you know already that God is open and receptive to you. It is time to be open and receptive to the Creator. Father, Mother God, we do thank you that we are awake to your presence here. We chose to be here. We intentionally showed up to strengthen our communion with you. We all want more of your wholeness, more of your perfection, more of your love and peace and abundance to be expressed throughout our lives. So we came this morning to commune one with another with the common purpose of experiencing more of you. Oh God, we do thank you for this service and for everyone participating in it. For all are contributing love energies. All are affirming you and our unity with you. Thank you, Father, Mother God, for being throughout our lives for magnifying your goodness through our living. Strengthen our ability to practice unity principles throughout every day. And bless all who are present today. Bless all who view these services later. We do thank you, Father, Mother God, for being open, receptive, and responsive to each of us. We release these affirmations of your goodness and perfection, and we know that our lives are manifesting just what we seek, more of you. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.
God is, I am, right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am, love is. I am right here, right now, right here, right now. Love is, I am, God is, I am. Right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am, love is, I am, right here. Right now, right here, right now, love is, I am.
This morning's contemplation is called The Dragonfly. And again, it's in the form of a story. And so I'd invite you, if it's comfortable, just to simply close your eyes and allow these words to resonate with you as they will. One lovely spring morning, a little white egg cracked and opened on a reed stalk near the edge of a small lake. A tiny creature emerged from the egg and stepped onto the reed stalk. It was a dragonfly nymph. Soon it moved about in the water in search of food. It learned how to live there with the other nymphs and grew to be about 2 inches long. For a time, the little nymph lived happily beneath the water of the lake. It knew no other life and dreamed of no other world. Content and happy, it ate its food and enjoyed living. Then one day the nymph saw a slender reed growing up through the water. All his life he had seen this, but he had scarcely looked at it. This day it was different. It was as though he had seen this reed for the first time. He wondered where it went and what was at the top. Crawling over it, he started to climb. Some of the other nymphs watched him go. Slowly he climbed until the nymphs at the bottom of the lake could no longer see. As he progressed up the reed stalk, the water became lighter and lighter and warmer and warmer. This was something new and exciting. Eagerly, the little nymph hurried on. Nothing could have turned him back. Finally, he left the water. He felt very warm and the light was dazzling. It was the sunshine. But of course, the nymph had never seen or felt the sun before. This was a new world to him. For some time he stayed perfectly still on the top of the reed. Then something happened. The skin below his head between his shoulders split, and by drawing his head back a little, the nymph was able to poke it out through this hole. Then for another little while he rested. Gradually he began to wiggle a little. His skin felt tight and brittle, like a glove that is too small. He could not move freely. Little by little he wiggled free, first one pair of legs, then another, till finally his whole body had crawled out through the hole in the old skin. Now he could move. He stretched and stretched. His body became much longer. A double pair of beautiful gossamer wings began to spread from his sides and dry in the lovely warm sunshine. Another change had taken place. The little brown nymph had changed to a beautiful color. He was a completely new creature. He was now a dragonfly, yet he was still himself. He was now living in a beautiful, golden, dazzling world of sunshine and air, full of things he had never dreamed of during his life in the lake. Suddenly he raised himself on his new wings to explore his wonderful new world. There on the reed stalk was the empty skin out of which he had crawled. It was complete in every detail, but now it was an empty shell. It had served him well as he lived at the bottom of the lake, but now the dragonfly had no further use of it. He had a new body with wings to use in his new world. P.S. This is the true story of the life of all dragonflies. And so as we center into this moment, in this time of springtime, as indeed the old falls away and the new is seeking to emerge, let us just trust and know that it is life revealing itself in us, through us, and as us. And it is good and very good. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
Reaching out to feel the infinite. I'm reaching out to know the divine. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. I'm reaching out to know the divine. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm going deep I'm going deep to know the divine. I'm going deep to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm rising up to feel the infinite. I'm rising up to know the divine. I'm rising up to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul.
And so, I would invite you to stand and join me in reading our affirmation. I would invite you to remain standing as we go into our congregational song. Together. Today, I surrender to my greater possibility. I gently release that which no longer serves my highest good. I accept and bless my current reality. I breathless the divine idea seeking its expression through me. Today, I surrender to my greatest possibility.
This is an Ella Fitzgerald tune. It's called In a Mellow Tone. In a mellow tone, feeling fancy free, I am not alone. I've got company. Everything's okay with the live long day, with this mellow song. I can't go wrong in a mellow tone. That's the way to live. If you mope and groan, something's gotta give. Just go your way and laugh and play. There's joy unknown in a mellow tone. Feeling fancy free, I am not alone. I've got company. Everything's okay. The live long day with this mellow song. I can't go wrong in a mellow tone. That's the way to live. If you mope and groan, something's gotta give. Just go your way and laugh and play. There is joy unknown in a mellow tone. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Leah. We are blessed. There's a lot I want to say today. You want to go take a quick break, get some coffee? We could be here for a while. No, I'm kidding. But I won't. This is what I've learned. Just because you know it doesn't mean you have to say it. But there's a lot. I sort of love this topic that we've been working on this month in terms of change. Because as someone brilliantly said, the only constant is change. Life continues to evolve. Life continues to get different. And so we are in the midst of profound change. I think, personally, I am. I know I'm going to a whole nother level of something. I hope it's a better level, well, to be announced, right? A deeper level of awareness and understanding of what it means to be a divine being having a human experience. I think our world is going through profound change and what feels like upheaval. I think we are just in this amazing experience. So some of us enjoy change. Some people even seek it out. Others would prefer it just happened somewhere else, in somebody else's universe, right? So it doesn't matter where you are. Again, change doesn't wait for our permission. It just keeps happening. So for me, it is learning to be comfortable on the edge of uncertainty. I speak to this all the time, but we often talk about this idea. You hear this a lot. You've got to get outside your comfort zone. Ever heard that? I'm not the first one that's ever said that to you, right? and so what does that mean, right? What does that mean exactly? Because what I know is my comfort zone is what is comfortable and what is known for me. And so by its very nature, when we're asked to step outside of where we have been, it is by its very invitation asking us to step into the unknown and step into the uncomfortable. Unless you get to do it different. If you do, then let me know, because I'd like to try out your program, right? Sometimes we have this illusion that if we just say, I'll speak the affirmation and everything will poof, and one day I'll wake up and they'll all be different. But unlike, that's kind of I love this story of the dragonfly, is there's something happening for us. And this is not a one-time event, it's an ongoing event. And if we become encrusted in our old way of being, then we get stuck there. But when we can trust that something beautiful is emerging, some greater possibility of life itself is seeking to make itself known, then we can trust that natural process. We can grieve the process, but we can let go and allow that which no longer serves us to be behind us. Now, when I was a student, I had a wonderful teacher, Michael Beckwith. Some of you have heard of him. And so I knew him before he was Michael Beckwith. He was just Uncle Mikey, He was just my buddy. Always a very profound and wonderful person. But I remember so well one time him saying in a class, the spiritual walk is all about learning to be comfortable on the edge of uncertainty. Being comfortable. In the Bible, it says that we are to wait upon the Lord. And I didn't really understand that until I understood the Bible from a metaphysical point of view. You see, often when in metaphysical interpretation of the Bible, the term the Lord is used, it also could be translated as the law. And so when we are waiting upon the law to fulfill itself, then we are in that place of knowing. It would appear that we do not plant the seed today and go harvest the fruit tomorrow. Although we would like that. They need some microwave version of seeds, right? Come back 30 seconds later, and there's the fruition of which I have planted. But those of us that have spent a little time putting our hands in the soil and understanding that process, realize that it is exercise in faith. It is an exercise in trusting that the universe, the soil, knows how to bring forward the thing that has been planted. So we use this analogy so often in understanding how this law of life works. You see, I don't know how a seed becomes a full-blown plant. I have no idea. Now, I can read books and all that, but that still doesn't tell me how that happens. It may explain to me the process, but I don't need to know. There's a hint. I don't need to know. So often what we do in our spiritual work is we know that we are encouraged to have a vision for the life that we desire. Right? We have to know where we're going. Great line in one of the classic metaphysical teachings of all time. The Wizard of Oz. It is. Watch it. It is brilliant. But in this wonderful passage, as Dorothy is going about collecting her soulmates for this journey, she comes across the scarecrow and she says, well, how do I get to this place? And he says, well, where are you going? And I said, I don't know. And he said to her brilliantly, if you don't know where you're going, then any road will do. Right? Any road will do to get somewhere. But if you want to go to a particular destination, it's helpful to know what the destination is. In our work, we are often called upon to trust, to have faith in something. In the Bible, it says it so brilliantly when it says, now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. We would do well to put that on our mirror and read it every day. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for. It is the conviction of things not seen. The Bible teaches us, Jesus was teaching us that we must pray believing that it is so and it will be so. So we often find ourselves having a vision of possibility, having a vision of a larger life, whatever that is for you, of having a greater experience of love, of joy, of all good. And yet, we're like Dorothy at the early part of the journey. We don't know how to get there. And yet, something within us calls us forward. Now, we have tools to help us get there. I always say the first thing you must figure out is what you want. I can't tell you how many hours of coaching, counseling, whatever you want to call it, with people I have had where people come in and I say, at some point the conversation inevitably comes to the question, what do you want? And so often I hear people say, well, I don't want to be broke anymore. I don't want to be in this bad relationship anymore. I don't want this. I don't want that. And then I say, okay, slow down here for a second. I'm going to ask this question very slowly. Pay attention. What do you want? Oh, really thought about that, right? So often we know what we're against. We know what we don't want. But have we really taken the time to delve into what is it that I am seeking? And I'll give you another hint. The thing we are seeking is not the thing. The thing we are seeking is a symbol or a representation of an idea of the thing. So when people say, I want more money, and I say to them, what's your experience of money now? And they say, it's awful. I say, great. Guess what happens if you get to have more money? More awful. Look at you. When you were poor, you could just do awful in a small way. Now you can do it in a big, bold, masterful way. Good on you. Right? So maybe, nothing wrong with having more money, but maybe what we're seeking is an experience. Maybe what we're seeking is a different experience of life. maybe what we're seeking is a different relationship. Maybe what we're seeking is an experience of the divine. To recognize, see, true abundance, true prosperity is recognizing God as our source and living from that state of being. Trusting that the universe knows how to bring into our experience that which we seek, that which we desire, that which we know. I've been rereading Emily Cady, The Lessons in Truth, which is a must-have. This is one of those you got to have in your library because she is so, and even for her day when she wrote it, she's pretty clear with the language, right? Sometimes when I read Ernest Holmes or Charles Fillmore, I have to go, what? What are you saying here? You know, I got to kind of weed through it. But she's pretty like, right there. But she talks about this idea that we must know, we must seek what we desire. And she says to something very profound, that which you desire is coming from God. Wow. The desire, in fact, if you look at the word, because I always like to look at words, if you look at the word, it means D of sire, the father, of the father. And of course, you know, could be of the mother too. I'm cool. But that wasn't the word where the word developed, right? So if you think about it, life is longing to express itself. Life is longing to reveal itself. The nature of the divine, the nature of God is to make itself known. And so those heartfelt desires that we hold are not coming from some ego state, but really from life wanting to know itself in a new, more powerful way through us. Now, to me, it would be a very cruel joke for the divine to give us the desire without the means to bring it into manifestation. That would just be mean. That'd be the way I'd run the universe, because no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that, I promise, right? But if you think about it, that which is within us, so it is okay to desire something more. But I always ask the question, after asking what it is that you want, I ask, what do you really want? Behind the symbol is the experience. And what I find over and over and over is when we can get to the spiritual quality, the experience that we are seeking, then we're already there. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm resting in my eternal soul, right? Because I read this. There's only one presence, one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good. Principle number 1. Our essence is of God. Therefore, we are inherently good. The God essence was fully expressed in Jesus the Christ. We are co-creators with God, creating reality through thoughts held in mind. You see, we are not working from the perception, hopefully, that our good resides out there and somehow we've got to cajole the universe into giving us what we want. When we make that fundamental shift to recognize what it means to say, I live, move, and have my very being in God, and we could even go so far as to say, and God has its very being in me, then the thing that I seek, I already have. And so it is my work to release, to recognize what I know, to recognize who I am, to release the outworn ideas of separation, of otherness, of worthiness, of lovability, whatever it is your story is. That's what's got to go. That's the old shell of the body sitting on the reed. And you can look back. I love that story as the dragonfly looks back and says, that's my old body and it served me well when I was living in a swamp. Yeah, so you know, if you want to live in a swamp, get that body. But when you're ready to go, when you're ready to fly, you're going to have to release the old, step outside of the shell, to grow your wings, and to have faith that an intelligence greater than I am is my very life and being, and it will guide and direct and reveal itself through me. Amen. Amen. So faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not being seen. When we are challenged, when we are confronted with what appears not to be the thing that we were praying for, which is step 2. Did you know that? Step 1, pray. Step 2, something other comes into your experience. Step 3, go back to prayer. I always like to say, right? Because that which is unhealed within us comes up and is revealed so that it can be. Olden days, they called it chemicalization. That the thing, the opposite experience, seems to show up and you're like, wait a minute, I was praying for patience. These people are annoying me. I know, the universe says, I know. That's why I sent them, you know. Because it's one thing to affirm patience and it's another to practice it, right? It's one thing to preach love and it's another to live it. It's one thing to know abundance and another to experience it, right? So I always like to say that when these pre-demonstrations occur, that's a nice way to say it. Oh, look, I'm having a pre-demonstration. I was praying for abundance. I just got a bill. It's a pre-demonstration. Now I really get to practice, you know, right? Now I really get to practice. So when we're in that state of pre-demonstration, the question is, where do we place our faith? Jesus told us that we can't have two masters. We either serve the divine or we serve materiality. Now, again, some people have interpreted that to mean that we shouldn't experience the joy and abundance of living. I disagree. But when I serve materiality, I get myself into trouble. When I go after the quick buck, instead of doing the right thing, I get myself into trouble. When the Bible said to us, you shall worship no false idols. One of the big 10. Right up there, right? And that is to say, don't put your faith in the materiality. Materiality changes. Have you noticed? Somebody famously said it's like rearranging the chairs on the Titanic. Right? It may look better, but the boat is going down. And sometimes in our fear, we want to rearrange. Let's rearrange some things. Right? It's fine to rearrange as long as it's in alignment with the vision. We're sensing this as a community. We're realigning ourselves. We're letting go of some old ways of being. The old ways have served us. They were good for the time. But you see, spiritual maturity, spiritual growth demands of us to move into the time in which we are living. So, where shall we place our faith? Now, without a spiritual practice, without a recognition that there is indeed a wisdom and an intelligence and a life bigger than our own, then we feel as if we're left to our own devices. And I don't know about you, but that hadn't worked out well for me. So when I start trusting that the same intelligence that brought me into being knows how to guide and direct my life, then I walk in faith. I put my faith in the divine unseen more than what is known and what is experienced. And that, my friends, is where miracles occur. Seeming coincidences happen. You go to bed one night in Salt Lake City, Utah, and you wake up the next day in Charlotte, North Carolina, and you're like, what? Oh, I guess I just left an old skin behind. Now I'm ready to fly. Right? Not my plan. Doesn't matter. I learned this early in my ministry. Went through school, I did all the things, I was ready to go do this thing. And I kept saying, show me the bus, God, and I'll get on it. Now it came down, my first ministry came down to two possibilities. One, Vancouver, British Columbia. In my mind, one of the most beautiful cities in the world, one of the most cosmopolitan, it's hip, it's happening, it's going on. Or Dallas, Texas. Dallas is a lovely place. But my ego was all about Vancouver. My soul took me to Dallas. And I remember having this experience of, oh, I get it. That's what it means, not my will, but thine be done. A year later, the Vancouver church fired their new minister. I built a community there, and then that launched another community that up until a year ago was thriving and growing and happening. You see, maybe in the next life we get to do it according to my plan. But it would appear that in this universe, in this time, on this planet, we get to surrender and allow something to happen. Now, the good news is every time that has happened, something bigger, better than I could ever imagine has come into being. I feel honored to be here on this journey with you. Thank you. Let's invite our choir back up. We'll do a little prayer. We'll sing a little song. Another song. We'll get your money. Oh, did that come right out of my mouth? Oh, okay. That wasn't just a thought floating in my head. I see. Okay. So join me. Taking a deep breath. Remembering the truth. Recognizing in this moment that there is indeed one life, one power, one presence, one God. That is our very source and substance. As we move away from the illusion of separation into the realization of God as my very life and being, as I recognize for each of us gathered here that we are divine beings right here, right now. And all of those qualities that we associate with God of spirit, joy, love, peace, harmony, health, well-being, those are ours right here and right now. So we join together in consciousness in this moment to affirm that truth, to know that right here, right now we are abundant beings. And we open ourselves to the divine flow, joyously giving, graciously receiving of infinite bounty. We know that right here, right now, there is wholeness. And as we affirm that wholeness, we know that healing occurs, the revelation of truth, that wholeness reveals itself through every cell and every system of our physical being, of our spiritual being, of our emotional being. We know that right here and right now, love is present. And so as we release anything unlike love, often through the practice of forgiveness, we let it go. And we step into a new reality of divine love, seeing with new eyes, hearing with new ears, speaking the word of truth, to causing our relationships to be healed and transformed through the power of unconditional love. How good it is to know this truth. How good it is to bear witness to what is transpiring. we know we are blessed. And because we are blessed, it is natural to extend a blessing. We bless this divine idea we know as Unity of Charlotte, knowing it is divinely guided and abundantly supplied in every possible way. We extend that blessing to our brothers and sisters, not only in this church, not only in this community, but across the world. For we recognize that we have a commonality, that we are brothers and sisters in the one life. So we envision a world at peace. We envision a world that works for all. And it is a beautiful thing. And so as always, I bless all priests, all rabbis, all ministers, all teachers of every faith. For I know where two or more are gathered, the I Am is there. And it is good. Giving thanks for all of these blessings and so many more. Giving thanks for the power of consciousness to reveal truth. Giving thanks for the laws of mind that operate upon the consciousness we have established here. I simply release this word knowing it is already done. And so I give great thanks. I allow it to be so, as together we say, and so it is. Amen.
If you guys know this tune, when we get to the chorus, please feel free to sing along. It's a little Bobby McFerrin. Don't worry, be happy. Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry. Be happy. In every life we have some trouble. When you worry, you make it double. Don't worry. Be happy. Ooh, don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry. Be happy. Ain't got no place to lay your head. Somebody came and took your bed. Don't worry. Be happy. Your landlord say your rent is late. You may have to litigate. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry. Be happy. Ain't got no cash, ain't got no style, ain't got no gal to make you smile, but don't worry. Just be happy. 'Cause when you worry, your face will frown, and that will bring everybody down. Don't worry. Be happy. Yeah. Don't you worry. You got to be happy. Don't worry, be happy now. Don't worry, be happy. Now, here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry. Sing out now. Be happy. Jeez. 'Cause when you worry, your face will frown, and that will bring everybody down. So don't worry. There we go. Like that. Be happy. Don't you worry. Be happy now. Don't you worry. You got to be happy. Don't worry. Be happy. One more time. Don't worry. Be happy. Ooh. Ooh. Don't worry. Be happy. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, choir. Thank you guys so much for having me.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a blessed week.
Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be.